Hi, everyone. Welcome to our general marketing webinar for today. My name is Lindsay Pageau. I'm the Ag Business Development Marketing Specialist for Cornell Cooperative Extension. And I have along with me my colleague, Precious. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Precious Chabalala, and I'm a food systems specialist with Cornell Cooperative Extension, Harvest New York.
So what is marketing? So marketing is the activity of promoting and selling products or services, including like the market research behind it and the advertising. So as a farmer, sometimes it tends to be something that we kind of consider the last thing that we need to concentrate on because we're focused on our quality of our crops, raising quality livestock, and then making quality value-added products. So although, those are very important things to make sure that we have a quality product that we're promoting to our customers, it's very important to focus in on marketing. So we're going to cover some of just the general aspects of marketing on this webinar.
So we'll start off by looking at the 4 P's of marketing. So these are known as the marketing mix, which is a set of variables or controllables that a business can use to effectively and efficiently satisfy the demands of its target consumers, as well as to retain them. So we'll start by looking at the price, the first P. So the price aspect in agricultural marketing involves setting the right pricing strategy for your products. And we're looking at how much you're planning to charge. Does it cover your costs? So there are a couple of things that you should consider when you're looking at pricing. Firstly, is the cost of your product, the existing market or competition, the value of a product, your business goals, as well as your market segment. So when you're using a cost-based pricing strategy, the first thing that you need to do is to understand your production costs thoroughly, to factor in the expenses that are related to cultivation, harvesting, processing, packaging, transportation, and all the other factors that go into your production. So knowing your costs is the most crucial part of this type of pricing strategy and setting a profitable price. However, you need to be conscious with this type of pricing as it may not capture the perceived value of your product, because if in some instances, if consumers find a price to be low, they may think that it's of low, the produce is of low quality. Another strategy to use for pricing is market analysis. That is by conducting a market research to understand what your competitors are charging and to analyze what their pricing strategy is. For example, if you are in a farmer's market and someone else is charging, well, the average price for a product is $3 per pound. If you come at $6 per pound, it's likely that the consumers will gravitate towards the other product, unless if you explain to your consumers why you're pricing that way. Let's say it's a gourmet product. Maybe that could be a strategy that works. You can also use values-based pricing, which considers setting prices based on the perceived value of your agricultural product. So if consumers see a specific type of cheese to be of high value, if you price it lower, it may raise eyebrows and they may not have an interest in purchasing that product. And then there's also dynamic pricing, which looks at demand versus supply, looking at what's available and what's not. If, let's say, you're the only one that's that's selling X at a farmer's market, you are able to be flexible in your pricing depending on your consumer needs. You can also use psychological pricing, where you're considering such things as the price. Instead of putting $10, you put $9.99, for example. I don't know how many times I've put back a product in the shelf because it's 5 cents less than the other product. So those are the things that you need to consider to create a perception of a lower price for your consumers. Also, you need to consider your price elasticity, how sensitive your consumers are to changes in price. If they are extremely, if they are inelastic to any price changes, then you are able to change your prices and make significant changes without any changes in the demand itself. Now, as I mentioned also that you may also want to clearly communicate the reasons behind your pricing. If your price if your product is priced higher due to superior quality or sustainable prices or unique features, educate your consumers about these. And let's move on to the product part of the 4Ps. So the product element of the 4Ps refers to much more than just the physical produce itself. It encompasses various aspects critical to successful marketing. The first one being quality. Highlight the quality standards of your produce, or your product. This involves factors such as freshness, the taste, the nutritional value, and consistency of your quality. Emphasize any certifications, organic labels, or special attributes that set your products apart. Lindsay is going to get into this in detail at a later part of the stage. You may also want to consider the type of market that you're targeting. For example, the retail market is not very open to what we term ugly products, whereas the direct to consumer, for example, farm stands or farmers markets, they may be open to purchasing ugly products if they deem them to be of high quality. There is also variety and differentiation of the product. Showcase the diversity within your product range. Highlight the unique or specialty crops, the heirloom varieties that you have, or any specific traits to your specific product that differentiate your offerings from the competitors. It could be that you're using an exotic variety or anything that consumers or your target market could relate to. And consumers often seek variety and exclusivity, which can be a strong selling point. And then within the product as well, we also have packaging, which plays a crucial role, especially with agricultural products. It's not just about the aesthetics, but also about the functionality. Good packaging protects the freshness and quality of produce while also serving as a marketing tool. So sustainable and eco-friendly packaging can also be a selling point to some consumers. There is also branding to consider. You should establish a strong brand identity for your products. This involves creating a story around your farm, putting pictures in some cases, your practices, and the values that you stand for. A compelling brand story can resonate with some consumers and build trust and have them come back to purchase your products. There's also value addition, which includes exploring opportunities to add value to your products. This can be through processing. For example, your tomatoes can be turned into a tomato sauce that maybe you have a target audience that maybe someone from Sicily is is a regular in your market and they would like to see a specific source from Sicily, you could consider doing such things as well. And then also consider consumer engagement, which involves consumers in the product development process. Find out from your consumers what would they like to see, and consider hosting farm tours, tastings, educational events. Engaging consumers can create a connection and a loyalty towards your brand. Your consumers want to feel they may want to feel that personal touch to the product that they're buying. Also, consider adapting to market trends. What is trending in the market? How do people want to consume? Are consumer preferences changing in that specific product? Whether it's offering organic alternatives, introducing new flavors, or aligning with health and wellness trends. Now let's move on to the third P, which is promotion. So promotion in agricultural marketing involves the strategies and tactics that are used to communicate the value of a product to the target audience. And we're looking at social media, your website, your newspaper, word of mouth. So a comprehensive background would involve looking at what your, firstly, you need to identify your target audience. Who's your audience? Understand your audience. Is it consumers? Is it wholesalers? Is it retailers? Is it businesses, or even institutional markets in some instances? So tailor your promotional strategies to resonate with their needs, preferences, and behaviors. For example, if your target audience is maybe Gen Z, it may be very worthwhile for you to use social media such as TikTok. And if you are targeting maybe an older audience, you may use Facebook as a mechanism to advertise your product. So those are the things that you need to consider when you're looking at your target audience. And also with digital marketing, like websites, social media, and email marketing to reach a wider audience. Share engaging content like your farm stories, behind the scene recipes, or some educational content about your product. Also, try to tailor with the season. If it's Christmas, try to put Christmas-oriented promotions. When it's Thanksgiving, tailor it that way. When it's Easter or whatever holiday that is being celebrated, you can tailor it that way. And then you could also use traditional marketing methods like print media, radio, or even local events and sponsorships, especially if your target audience prefers these channels. So it's very imperative to understand who your target audience is and what their preference is. You can also use in-store promotions. If you're selling through retail outlets, consider in-store promotions like taste and sampling to attract consumers and showcase your product directly. There is also content marketing. Create valuable and relevant content related to your agricultural products. This could be blogs, videos, or podcasts, or discussing your farming practices, the benefits of your products, or some other educational content that can engage and attract consumers. Also consider partnerships. Collaborate with chefs, social media influencers, or other types of influencers, other local businesses to showcase your product. Those partnerships can widen your reach and add credibility to your brand. I've mentioned that visual branding also is it should be consistent and appealing across all promotional materials. Your logos, your packaging and your designing should convey your brand identity effectively. Engage and interact with your audience actively. Respond to queries, comments, and reviews promptly. Answer calls when people call you or even return them when they leave voicemails. And encourage user-generated content by running contests or sharing consumer stories. I think we'll get more into detail about this at later stages of this marketing series. Also measure and analyze, like look at your consumer feedback, track the effectiveness of your promotional activities, use analytics to measure website traffic, social media engagement, or sales attributed to a specific promotion. Analyzing data helps in refining and optimizing future strategies. So you should remember that effective promotion isn't just about selling. It's about building relationships, educating consumers, and creating a positive image for your agricultural product. A well-crafted promotional strategy can significantly impact consumer perception and drive sales. Now let's look at the third P, which is place. So the place refers to the strategic distribution and availability of your agricultural products to your target market. So this looks at such factors as where you're planning to sell your product, who are your consumers, what are you looking to purchase. And some of the key elements include your distribution channels. Understanding and optimizing distribution channels is very crucial. For most agricultural products, this can include various options such as direct-to-consumer sales through farm stands, farmers markets, consumer-supported CSAs, or through intermediaries like food hubs, wholesalers, retailers, and other online platforms. So you need to choose. You need to be very strategic when you're choosing where to sell your product. And then also consider, well, local or global or even like export market. Export can mean outside of the state or outside of your locality. Determine whether your focus will be on local, regional, national, or even the global market. Each market has its own dynamics, its own needs, its own demand patterns, and its own logistical requirements. For example, the institutional market may require a specific, for example, they may want IQF carrots, whereas the direct-to-consumer market, like CSA, they may want fresh markets. So those are the things that you need to consider when you're deciding on how to strategize the place part of the 4 Ps. Also consider accessibility and convenience. Ensure that your products are accessible to your target consumers. This involves choosing distribution points strategically, locations that are convenient for your consumers and fit with their shopping habits as well. Also consider the logistics and supply chain management. If let's say you want to sell to New York City market and you are in North Country, does it make sense for you to have New York City market as your target audience, or should you find closer markets within your region? And ultimately, the price aspect is about ensuring that your products are available where your target consumers expect to find them. It involves strategic planning, logistics, and understanding the consumer behavior to optimize distribution and maximize accessibility. Now, yeah, this should be part of it.
Thanks, Precious. Okay, so Precious kind of covered some of this too on for people in the target market. So who is going to be your target market? Is it going to be like a single person, a family? Thinking about like if you're going to target market, like how much, how big product quantity needs to be if people are buying stuff. Income, having a target income, sometimes you don't want to price things too low, but you also don't want to price things too high. So what's going to be that target market of that person that you're looking to buy that particular product from you? And the other thing is it a one and done? Like, are they going to buy the product one time and then just completely never come back and purchase it again? So that's really important to think about, if you're going to have something especially, in our products, we're trying to have continuous purchasing. So just finding a product that people are going to continuous purchase throughout, throughout the season or throughout the year. And then, is this something that your target market really wants to be purchasing when it gets down to it? Is it going to be like a lotion, and that lotion, like they're never going to, it's not something they're really going to want, but it's like a one and done kind of deal. I mean, that could work for an operation, especially like an agritourism operation where it might be people coming from outside the area. But if you're going to be, selling, vegetables throughout the growing season and then continuous years, you're going to make sure you want to, specifically hone in on what that market is going to be, those people that are going to be purchasing that product. So marketing and communication of tools. So we're going to, just the next couple of slides, like talk about a little bit about branding, labels, certifications, a little bit like what does a label do when it comes down to regulatory requirements and how that's value. And then a little bit more about, where you're potentially marketing your products when it comes down to paid media, free media, and social media. So it's important to develop your brand for your thing. And I have a picture up here of a glass of milk. Can you name some milk brands? So I have two small kids, age 2 and 4. They drink a lot of milk. So we usually, I think about brands of milk, like there's Organic Valley, Horizons Organic, Stonefield Farms, or there's like the generic. And, when you're going to purchase something in the store, it's really important, like especially for branding, is be able to find stuff quickly, that you're not trying to like search things out. So it's important to develop a brand, especially if you're going to end up potentially selling into a large sales market, but also just for accessibility of people be able to find your product. It needs to convey unique qualities and values. Communicates at a gut level that, this is something that I want to be purchasing when it gets down to it, and then inspires confidence. So like an example, like when I'm going to get milk, I'm looking for I might be looking for a certain brand. Maybe I'm buying a milk that's conventional or organic, but, when it gets down to me, going to a grocery store, I want to find something very quickly off the shelf, because the last thing I'm hitting upon is saves time. That's what a brand helps us to do, is it helps us even to save time when we're shopping for our products. When we're looking at branding, I always like to look at like the overall, what are we really looking for when we're trying to brand a product? And I think that it's really important to look at like some of those big companies that we think about that are on the market, like our Pepsi or Cola, the different cereal brands, like they've spent a lot of money in marketing and branding of those products. And there's a reason why things are placed on a shelf a certain way. And like for us to be able to see those certain products when we're into a grocery store. So it's important to spend that time, potentially that extra money when it comes down to branding your product. Developing like a logo for your farm. There's a lot of different options when it comes to developing a logo. You can, create something yourself with different software that are out there. You can also like, you could also hand sketch something that gets turned into a digital form in the long run. There's a lot of options out online where you can spend around like $100 for a company, to develop a small logo for you, but you could end up spending thousands of dollars when it comes down to a logo being developed. It's really important to have a clear image of what, your brand is. So, example for a winery, a wine glass, a wine bottle, like that's a clear image that somebody's easily going to know it's wine. So making sure that it relates to what the customers are knowing what they're going to purchase. Colors, having colors that identify your operation. So example, I have a lavender farm, so everything that I have is in purple. All my business cards, my website, the tent that I have up on our UPIC weekends, the rubber bands that people, go out to the field and cut lavender in the purple. So I have a clear message of what colorations I want to have for my operation. Having a certain font that you're going to be using for your product, that's consistent when it comes down to your business card, your website, and then, packaging and labels. So your logo, your name for your operation, those colors are all going to be on that packaging, and labels to be easy identified when the consumers are looking to purchase things. Swag. I always like to bring up the fact that, stickers, shirts, hats, mugs, those are great ways to promote your products. Like, people love to go to an operation and pick up a shirt, a hat that has the farm on it, and then they're taking and wearing it around and they're promoting your business to the public. I know when I worked for a company years ago for landscaping, we all had, our shirts on that we wore every single day for that operation. And, you go into the local convenience store and people like, hey, how do I get the information? So we were advertising that landscaping operation every time we went out into the public. And then also for employees, when they're working on your farm, is making sure they have a shirt, a hat to identify themselves. And it just, like I said, when they go out into the public to go to the convenience store to get a soda or get a sandwich, they're going to be promoting your operation. And then it's really important to have a consistent branding message across your website, social media, any of your advertising that you're doing, and making sure it's always consistent for your operation. And always think about going the extra mile of how you can really promote your product. So how do certifications help market your products? So we have so many different certifications out there. We have New York State Grown and Certified, organic, natural, GAPS, good agricultural practices, grass-fed, free range, certified naturally grown. So what do those mean to us when it comes? That's what the big thing is. What do they mean to us as a consumer? Not everybody that's a consumer understands like what it goes into getting those certifications. But what ends up happening is a lot of these certification programs, I'm going to use New York State Grown and Certified, is they've done a really great job of promoting what that certification means when it gets down to it. It's a certification that means that you have, good food safety practices in places, and that you also have good agricultural practices on your farm. So the more that the consumer understands these different certifications, the more it's going to help promote how well those products that you're producing on your farm. Sometimes people don't know exactly what organic or natural or certified naturally grown, but that's important too, is that if you have interaction with your customer, is educating your customers on what these certain certifications mean to your operation. And then Precious did a really great job on talking about different ways to promote your products. So, when it comes down to marketing your products, it's important to look at the opportunities to promote as many different ways across the board as you can. I always like to, especially people that are starting out with any type of marketing for their operation is really think about some of those free options first, and then continuously build on different ways to promote, because free is free. And then, you know, newspapers, depending on where you are in the state, in the country, you know, a little ad could be any little advertisement of like an eighth of a page could be about $50. You know, when you're looking at potentially, you know, doing some promotion like in a magazine, it could be anywhere from a couple $100 to a couple $1,000. So it's important to figure out how you want to promote your products, have a budget of how much you're willing to spend for promotion. And then it's like slowly build on that. You don't have to go spend thousands of dollars right off the bat when it comes down to marketing. You can start out slow and then continuously add per year and have a marketing budget for your operation. And then also I think too is look at the different local promotions that are out there. So like Cornell Cooperative Extension has a lot of different local food promotion programs like in the area to promote the farms of what's happening, so they can, you know, promote your farm stands, promote different like agritourism events. So looking at what's going to really work for your operation. And then I've got some resources too. It's, you know, it's important to look at a lot of different resources that are out there. So USDA has a number of resources when it comes down to marketing. New York State Department of Ag and Markets has marketing resources, and it also has the New York State Grown Certified program. And then a number of years ago, Matt LaRue, he was in Tompkins County Extension Office, and now he's at Cornell's Dyson School of Business. He put together this really great guide to marketing channels of how to sell through wholesale and direct market channels. So that would be a wonderful resource to check out. So I'm going to say